Last night, the Gulls took a trip to the Vineyard, and in a wild game, to say the least, Newport prevailed 19-9, and now the Gulls are back home for yet another Coastal Division matchup. Welcome into a rainy Cardines field here in Newport, Rhode Island. Today, the Newport Gulls welcome in the North Shore Navigators for the second time this week. We've got our pregame show coming up here on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network, so make sure you stick around. We got plenty coming up.
I won!
That's a good play!
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has paid over $57 billion in prizes and contributed over $8 billion to Rhode Island's general fund. Your Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for 50 years and counting.
Welcome back to the Newport Gulls pregame show. I'm joined here by Danielle Hart. Danielle, what do you do for the Gulls here on a day-to-day basis?
I'm the social media manager, so I tweet on Twitter, live updates. I do score updates on the Instagram story, and basically show everyone what game day is like at Cardines Field.
And what is game day like? What's your favorite part to show people?
My favorite part to show people is definitely the highlights or the in-between inning games, because you can see all the fun that we have here on game day.
It is very fun. And Danielle, where do you go to college?
I go to Clemson University.
So a little bit nicer weather than the weather we have today here at Cardines. And what's your major at Clemson?
I'm majoring in criminal justice, but I have minors in sports communication and brand communication.
Wow, that sounds a lot of work. I think that's too much for me to handle for sure. All right, Danielle, last question before I let you go. What are your future plans when you graduate from Clemson?
Definitely do some sort of social media for a sports team, either baseball or any other professional sports team.
Well, being here with the Gulls is a great start. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the pregame show rolls on.
Welcome back into the Newport Gulls pregame show. The rain continues to fall, but that's not stopping us. I'm Sam Reese, now joined by hitting coach of Newport, Ted Regan. And Coach, I think you know where my first question's heading. The last time a game was played here at Cardines a couple of nights ago, you were tossed from that game, just one out into the first inning. So just take me through what happened there and just the passion you have as a coach.
The passion I have is real. I haven't been dumped in 15 years. The first time in 15 years I got dumped.
Wow.
I just didn't agree the way he overruled what happened at first base, that's all. The guy at first base made the call. He's right on top of the bag. The home plate umpire is 95 feet away. In the back, the first baseman has his back to him. I just said to him, you're in the wrong spot to help him out and make that call. He's right there. If it's right, wrong, or indifferent, he should own it. But you shouldn't interject there, that's all. So he didn't want to hear what I had to say. And he dumped me pretty quick. I couldn't believe it was that fast. If it was that fast, I would have got more choice words in, but I couldn't do it.
Couldn't get them in.
No,
well, with that being said, do you think in a way, obviously you don't want to get tossed, but showing that passion, so showing that energy from the dugout, do you think that rubs off a little bit on the players and motivates them a little bit?
I hope so. I hope it does. I mean, it doesn't. I didn't do it purposely to
Right.
invigorate our guys. But if that makes them do it, I'll get dumped more often.
Fair enough. And in that game in particular, it was more of a pitcher's duel. But then last night, I know you weren't there last night on the Vineyard, but I'm sure you saw that box
I did.
score.
I watched it. It was a long day.
You watched it.
I watched the game.
Yep. So what do you take away from that? 19 runs put on the board. Obviously, fewer hits than runs in that game. But, you know, guys like Andrew Duncan, Jack Doyle, Tyler Minnick had a home run. That has to be promising.
Well, Jack Doyle had 3 hits last night. It was
Yeah.
nice for him to get started. And Andrew's been swinging the bat really well to get 4 hits to keep him on base with his speed. And he's very dangerous on base, so that's really great. Very happy with that. The big thing I came away with that is that we walked more than we struck out, which is a great sign for us. We've been striking out a little bit too much for my liking, but, I mean, that's the world today. Everybody accepts strikeouts. I'm not so crazy about accepting strikeouts. But we walked more than we struck out, and we had timely hitting. It was great.
Yeah, Nolan Stevens, for example, had 1 walk all season. He was walked 4 times last night on the Vineyard. Last question for you. What's the message for you personally to the offense heading into tonight and, you know, heading into, I guess, now that we're past the quarter mark of the season, what's the main thing you're trying to get across?
Just trying to have them to get an approach. Instead of swinging at everything, have an approach at the plate, what you want to swing at. Pre-2K, pre-2 strikes is your pitch. When it comes to 2 strikes, got to shorten up, get the baseball in play, get some activity out of it. That's my preach. That's what I'm going to be on all year long.
All right, we appreciate the words as always. That's Coach
You're
Regan.
welcome.
We'll be back in a moment on the Gulls pregame show. Make sure you stick around. Welcome back into the Gulls pregame show. I'm Sam Reese, now joined by Tyler Minnick. And Tyler, yesterday on the Vineyard, that was a wild game, 19-9, the final score. And for you personally, it was quite the night as well. You were the starting catcher, took a knock behind the plate, you got hit by a pitch, you had 5 RBI, then you had a home run in the ninth. Just take me through what that game was like for you.
Yeah, that was definitely a wild game to say the least. Offense was plentiful for both teams, but it was great, obviously. Got hit by a pitch. That wasn't fun, but then also, at the end was able to come up, square a ball up, leave the yard. It was all great, but overall great night. Scored a lot of runs, the whole team, everything was great.
And take me through that home run in the ninth as the rain starts to fall down a bit more heavy here at Cardines Field. Because for you, it's taken a little bit while for you to get going at the plate. I have to imagine that felt well. What did you see on that pitch?
No. That at-bat was really good, personally. He fouled off a couple fastballs, just waiting, knew he was going to throw the slider. He threw it, hung it, and didn't miss it. So.
And then last question for you. Talk about the relationships you've developed here in Newport now a few weeks into the season, and especially the catcher group. You guys as catchers kind of getting a healthy rotation in, week out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love this group of guys, all the group. We're a great team. We're very close, which is awesome, especially in the catcher side of things. Me, Jake, we've gotten along great. He was ACC as well, and then obviously Max, awesome, come from the Naval Academy. And it's just been awesome. We're a really tight-knit group, and looking forward to it.
All right, thanks so much for the time, Tyler. That's Tyler Minnick. We'll be back in a moment with more on the Gulls pregame show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Newport Gulls pregame show. The rain keeps falling, but our spirits remain high. I'm Ryan Daniel here with Mac McCommons. Mac, what can you tell us about your first couple weeks here in Newport?
I've absolutely loved it. It's been a great opportunity. Love everybody here. Hope to come back again next year.
And obviously, as a member of the Naval Academy, your term on leave is almost up. So what's the kind of feeling heading back to Annapolis next week?
Oh, just thankful to be here. The time here is short, but we made the most of it. Really happy to be able to spend time with Brock here with the Gulls. It's been amazing.
Yeah, can you speak a little bit more to your camaraderie with Brock Murtha, having played with him not just here but also at the Naval Academy?
Yeah, Brock's a great teammate. He leads the team in many ways, and to have him here and be able to hang out with him, have a friend here before making friends with a bunch of other guys here, it was really nice. Yeah.
And I guess one question I always have when I'm looking at your stat line is you seem to have a knack for getting hit by pitches. Can you tell us about that, what you do differently?
I don't even know. Just started hot. Came out of the gates running, getting hit by pitches. I kind of got on top of the plate, not really, but they just came at me. It's fine. It slowed down as the season went on, but yeah, it was fun to be up at the top of the hit by pitch leaderboard there at the beginning of the season. Yeah.
Is that something that at the Naval Academy you guys kind of compete for, to be at the top of the hit by pitch leaderboard?
No, we don't, but it was funny enough that Brock was actually at the top of it too. So yeah, it was just coincidence. It was funny.
Well, maybe being hit by pitches is something that translates well from the Naval Academy to Newport. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the pregame show rolls on.
Well, the rain's coming down here pregame, but the hope is that we're going to play baseball tonight here at Cardines Field. That puts a wrap on the Gulls pregame show as Newport is set to face off with North Shore for the second time this week in a Coastal Division showdown. Well, that's a wrap on our pregame show. You can watch the game over on ESPN+. First pitch is at 6:35. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
I won! That's a good play!
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has paid over $57 billion in prizes and contributed over $8 billion to Rhode Island's general fund. Your Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for 50 years and counting.
It might be a little bit overcast on this Friday night, but we're ready for baseball nonetheless as the Newport Gulls return home to Cardines Field to welcome their Coastal Division foe, in the North Shore Navigators. Welcome into Cardines Field here in Newport, Rhode Island. I'm Sam Reese, joined by Riley Daniel and North Shore broadcaster Toby Zabore. Great to be with the both of you guys tonight, and it does look like we're going to get baseball in just about ready for first pitch. I'll start with you, Toby. On the side of the Navigators, they had a very interesting win last night.
Yeah, they're coming off a close win against the Sanford Mainers yesterday at home that got rained out a little bit late, but they still pick up the 3-2 win.
And Newport on a 2-game win streak. We'll step aside for a quick moment with the playing of the national anthem, and we'll be back for first pitch right here on ESPN+. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back into Newport, Rhode Island at historic Cardines Field. Sam Reese alongside Riley Daniel and Toby Zabore. We're moments away from first pitch. The national anthem concluded, and that means we're inching closer to playing ball here in Newport. And as you were saying before the break, Toby, it was a bit of an unorthodox 5-inning win, but a win's a win for North Shore last night against Sanford.
Yeah, and the big standout for the Navigators was the top of the order. Each of the top 6 men for North Shore recorded a hit in their win against the Mainers on a pitching staff that leads the New England League in earned run average. And Will Jones, the starter for North Shore, all 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, just 1 earned run against him, a dominant performance. They're going to be looking for the same tonight from Josh LaJoy.
And then on the other side for the home team, the Newport Gulls, Riley, they've won the last 2, but in very different manners.
Yes, they have. I mean, Wednesday night, your traditional pitchers duel, 2-1 win in a game that just felt like you weren't going to see more than about the 7 hits we ended up seeing. Last night, a little bit different. 19-9 in a game that you described perfectly as the strangest game you've ever called. Because, if I remember correctly, we were counting errors using multiple hands at one point.
Yes, that's correct. 7 combined errors between the two teams last night. There were 28 runs in that game, which Newport won 19-9. Those 28 runs came on just 18 hits. 11 pitchers were used. There were 22 walks. And oh, by the way, Newport had a 13-0 lead in the 6th inning. They were up 17-2 in the 7th, and 18 of the 28 runs scored in that game came in the 6th and 7th inning. I'm not a betting man, but I don't think we're going to have that much craziness tonight, surely.
That feels like a fair assumption. I mean, we've seen the wild inconsistency of the Gulls. However, they've been really consistent about one thing, and that's that every game this year, they have sent the game to their bullpen from their starting pitcher with a lead. When they have been able to have a strong bullpen performance, they've walked away with a victory. When their bullpen has collapsed, they have not been able to get the job done.
So a little bit of rain falling down, but it's lightened up significantly from certain points in the pregame. And shout out to the grounds crew for making sure that we can get first pitch underway just about on time. And as you see, Newport in its beautiful Friday night orange uniforms. I gotta say, I love those. And you see the man right there on the mound. It's Cole Cheatham of Mississippi State. Riley making his 3rd appearance, 2nd start of the summer, and not bad stats right there from his first start.
No, I think it's hard to find a pitcher with better stats. Well, maybe Adam Marr, but that's another discussion. I mean, just a phenomenal start against Upper with 3 innings pitched, 5 Ks, and just a perfect start to the season in his 2 appearances, 6 innings, still has not given up an earned run, and 10 Ks on the year.
So Cheatham getting his warm-up pitches in before Kyle Jones, who's the leadoff hitter, will step into the batter's box for North Shore. And how about you take us through the rest of that batting lineup, Toby, for the visitors?
Yeah, you said it. The recent Florida transfer, Kyle Jones, he'll take the first spot. He's followed by Daniel McDougall. And the 2 home match Attell reprises his catching role from the last time these two teams play. He bats 3rd, the league leader in batting average in the cleanup spot. It's Jesse Jakonski. Then Pat D'Amico in the 5-hole. Ryan Weidman gets the 6th spot, while Reese Maroney getting the nod at shortstop, batting 7th. Luke Orphy at the 8-hole, and rounding out the lineup, the 2nd leadoff man, it's Andrew Bianco, the first baseman.
So that's what the North Shore batting order looks like tonight. The Navigators and Gulls squaring off for the 2nd time this week. North Shore was here just 4 days ago on Monday, and here's the defensive lineup for the Gulls, Riley.
Yeah, a little bit of a change. Nico Breeding not in his usual spot in center, moving over to left to allow the speedy Florida State product, Andrew Duncan, to handle that. Tyler Heron right. And then in the infield, Jack Doyle. Seymour moves back to short from second. Orban at second. Austin Fort at first. And behind the plate tonight will be the Wake Forest product, Jake Burley.
All right, so the stage is set, and we are just about ready for baseball. A few more warm-up pitches to get in for Cheatham, so this game will start just a few minutes after when it was scheduled to, but again, the
a few minutes after when it was scheduled to start, but about an hour or so before we thought it would actually start when we were looking at the radar a couple hours ago.
Yes, so we're hoping, fingers crossed, that rain stays away for the most part tonight, and we can get this ball game in, or at least at the bare minimum, get the 5 required to make it official, as was the case with North Shore last night.
Yeah, they got through 5, started off the 6th inning, but couldn't quite finish that inning, so Navigators get the 3-2 win, and all that matters for North Shore is they got 5 innings, they got the win, and they get the man back in the leadoff spot. It's Kyle Jones. This is his first appearance for the North Shore Navigators, and what a year he had at Stetson. Led the team in average, led the team in hits, led the team in on-base percentage, Gold Glove Award finalist in center field, and now he's moving to the University of Florida.
And he's ready for the first pitch, which is a fastball, chopped to the right side, corralled by Orban. 1 pitch, 1 out to begin this game.
I mean, that's exactly the start you want if you're Cole Cheatham. Keep the ball low, let your defense do the work.
So that brings up Danny McDougall, the Taunton, Massachusetts native, who plays his college ball at Endicott, a rising junior.
Endicott College teams from Taunton in nearby Massachusetts.
And Cheatham delivers the heat on the inside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, that one starting him off at a 91, so Cheatham bringing some velocity here early on.
And not wasting much time between pitches. He goes to it again, and same result, inside part of the zone, 0-2.
I mean, after that, I can't expect anything other than a high fastball here.
We'll see what the Alabama native deals. And there you go. You predicted it, but just a bit too high that time for ball 1.
Yeah, I like that pitch. Go put one out of the zone, see if you can get McDougall to chase. And good take there from McDougall. Gonna have to be a little closer to get him to swing.
Now the 1-2. And this is popped high in the air and well out of play. That bounces across the street into the parking lot.
And this is a Navigators lineup that does really well against left-handed pitching. You see Danny McDougall hitting just 231 on the year. He's hitting 385 when he faces southpaws. That's a lot of what Coach Macaluso was looking for in this all-righty lineup, guys who crush lefties.
And he's ready for the 1-2 again. Down the line it goes. Is it going to stay fair? Yes, it will, and Austin Fort can't tag him. By the time he got to the ball and spun around, McDougall had a step on him, and that's just a solid piece of infield hitting for a single.
Yeah, I mean, that's the definition of a seeing eye single in the infield. Austin Fort maybe had a play if he's a little more aggressive, but I think there needs to just be a little bit more communication between Cheatham and Austin Fort. One of them has to go get that ball. One of them has to get to first base. Neither of them decided, and a little too late.
And part of that is the speed of McDougall. Again, he set a stolen base record at Endicott this past year. Any other player probably out on that, but because it's the speedy McDougall, they try to get him.
And first pitch swinging goes Matt Chattel. That's fouled off to the right side.
You got to think that the Gulls know about McDougall's speed. Orban shaded over towards the second base bag, potentially ready to cover on a throw.
0-1 the count. McDougall takes multiple steps off the bag. He has a lead over at first, and Cheatham zips it over to Austin Fort, but McDougall was ready.
And if you're going back to the last time these two teams met on Monday, Danny McDougall had a stolen base in that contest. So that's going to be fresh in the mind of this Gulls team that he ran on you and was successful.
That last pitch from Cheatham fired upstairs, and the count's 1-1. Chattel transferring from Merrimack to Rutgers. And this is hit through the gap left side. Running onto it is Nico Brini. Back-to-back singles from the 2 and 3 hitters. McDougall and Chattel have the Navigators in business early at Cardines.
That's what worked out so well for them yesterday. The top of the lineup was Danny McDougall. He was followed by Maroney and Chattel, and they kind of piggybacked off each other, especially in the 3-run 4th inning against the Mainers, where top of the order picked each other up. That's what North Shore does when they're on a roll. Guys get hits in a roll, and they really force teams to beat them.
Yeah, and a little bit unusual to see Cheatham getting hit this hard. Had only given up 4 hits in his 6 innings coming into tonight. Artie's given up 2 in a third of an inning.
And here's now Jesse Jakonski batting in the cleanup spot as the designated hitter. He'll be joining his brother Joe at Penn State next year as he awaits the first pitch from Cheatham. And it's just outside for ball one. Jesse Jakonski batting at a really solid clip, and that's an understatement. 419 through the first 10 games of the season, as that's fouled straight back, and really picking up from where he left off at Hartford Community College, where he batted 407 this past spring.
Yeah, it's not a shock to see him in the 400s, as you mentioned. He's right now tied with Scotty Young of Mystic for the top spot in the New England League in batting average. That's what North Shore's been looking out of Jesse Jakonski, is to get those hits and provide these rallies.
The 1-1, up and away. Looked like it just slipped a little bit out of the hand of Cheatham.
Toby, I'm glad you brought up that statistic, because I feel like right about now is the point where non-counting stats actually start to have some validity. It's been 2 weeks. These teams are now at about a dozen games. Those stats start to actually mean something more than just a random performance here and there.
Oh, yeah. Past the quarter mark of the regular season already here in the NECBL. Upstairs, it's a good take from Jakonski, and hitters count at 3-1.
Yeah, you could tell the Gulls crowd liked that pitch. They were giving some words to the home plate umpire after that frame by Burley.
The fastball fouled away, and the count full for the first time tonight.
Yeah, North Shore likes to work opposing pitchers' pitch counts. They want to get them up to 20 pitches before the end of the first inning. We talked about earlier that North Shore Gulls bullpen and how it's, had its ups and downs throughout the year. North Shore knows this about Newport. They took advantage of that bullpen to get the win back on Monday.
McDougall taking a big lead off second.
Full count pitch. He's taken off. Throw down the line, and it's not in time.
You know what it is?
The tag just a hair late from Jack Doyle, and runners are on second and third after a double steal.
I'm going to have to correct you there. They got him, but it didn't matter because it was ball four. He was entitled to third base. If you take a look here at the replay,
that's
correct. He is out on the throw, but he already had been awarded third base on the walk.
And it seemed like Burley was ready no matter what to throw down the line because the count was full. And you are 100% right. At first I thought, maybe that was a third strike, but no, you're right. It was outside. So the bases loaded either way for North Shore, and that's cracked to the right side and through the right field. In the score, the first run is McDougall. Following him is Chattel. The throw in time, and he got him. The tag is in there from Burley, and only one run scores for the Navigators on a bang-bang call at home plate.
I'd love to see a replay. The throw definitely beat him, but I don't know if Burley got that tag down in time.
Yeah, from here it looked like Chattel got in underneath the tag.
We're going to take a look right now here at this replay.
So here you see the look at it.
Not the best angle, but from where we are, right to the angle of the plate, it certainly looked like Chattel was safe at the plate. Either way, a huge swing for the Navigators as they get the men on, they get the run across and take an early lead, but huge call in this game changes the complexion of the inning from 1 out and 2 across to 2 out and 1 across.
Big time. Nonetheless, Pat D'Amico drives in the first run of this game. And now here's Ryan Weidman, the number 6 hitter, who steps up to the plate. And he takes a fastball down low. Good reaction by Burley behind the dish to prevent that ball from getting past him. And Cheatham facing some early adversity on the mound. His third appearance of the summer, second start.
That's the first run he's given up on the year.
Yes, earned, as that's up high for a ball. Cheatham did allow a couple against Upper Valley, but no earned runs in that game.
And Ryan Weinman doing what he does at the plate, work the count for a couple of walks. He's got 2 already on the season. He's just trying to keep the line moving with Reese Maroney, who's been blazing right behind him.
The 2-0 from Cheatham, a fastball hit up the middle. Orban gets there, tough throw to make, and it is in time.
What a play.
Austin Ford held on to it, and that's how the inning comes to a close. So North Shore scores a run. It could have been more. Navigators 1, Gulls 0. We'll be back in a moment on ESPN+. Welcome back into Newport. As you can see, a bit of a rainy night here at Cardines Field, but not hard enough rain yet to prevent us from playing baseball here at Cardines. Sam Reese alongside Riley Daniel and Toby Zabore as we get set for the bottom of the first inning. And right as I mentioned the rain and we come out of break, it really starts picking up here at Cardines.
Yeah, I mean, we talked pregame with a lot of the members of the grounds crew, of the operations staff here for the Gulls. Their hope is that they can get this game in, but there was no blind naivete. They knew that it was going to be a fight and it was going to require some quick innings here on the front side. Unfortunately for them, maybe the Navigators had other plans in the top of the first.
That's right. Navigators up 1-0. So already some run insurance, at least a little bit, for tonight's starting pitcher, Josh LaJoy, Toby.
Yeah, and he's looking in his first starting appearance of the season, his last outing, 2 innings against the North Adams Steeplecats, gave up 2 earned runs. He's been electric this year. 3 games, 6 innings pitched, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a 1-0 record. That win coming against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks a couple of weeks ago on the road at Vineyard. Opponents hitting just 143 against him. He's been dominant on the mound out of relief. Now he's getting a start opportunity.
And leading off tonight is a new name in Andrew Duncan. Take us through the rest of that batting order, Riley.
Yeah, I mean, a new name in Andrew Duncan, at least at home. Tyler Hare, Brody Seiko, Randy Seymour. Those are comfortable names. Matt Austin for Luke Orban, Jake Burley, Jack Doyle back in the lineup after a 3-for-5 performance last night. And, of course, Nico Brini in the 9-hole, flipping the lineup back around.
So Nolan Stevens getting the night off, at least from starting. Who knows? He could come in later in the game. But Andrew Duncan, after that 4-for-5 performance last night, understandably so, moving up to that leadoff spot tonight as ball 1 is delivered by LaJoy. And we're off and running here in the bottom of the first as the rain continues to fall here in Newport.
Yeah, and a phenomenal night last night for the Forest State product. 4-for-5 with a home run.
The 1-0. And that just misses a good eye from Duncan. 4-for-5. He had a 3-run blast in the first inning, finished with 5 RBI and 5 runs scored. You see the stat line right there. I mean, about as good of a night as you can have for the Florida State product as Duncan awaits the 2-0. And swing and a miss there on a pitch that was on the inside part of that zone, Toby.
That's what LaJoy likes to do, start out his outings. He tries to work guys inside, get off-balance swings. Yesterday for the Navigators pitchers, they weren't touching their fastball at all against the Mainers. Will Jones barely used it. Today, LaJoy's going right after these Gulls batters.
2-1 offering. Fastball popped high in the air right field. Moving in on it is Ryan Weidman, and he's got it for out number 1.
Yeah, and that's just the strength of what LaJoy does on the mound. He tries to work guys into strikeouts, but he's also a guy who's pretty comfortable giving up contact as long as it results in and out. That's going to be really helpful for his pitch count today. Keep the Navs bullpen kind of settled down, something they've been looking to do for a while. And if you're LaJoy, you want depth in this outing going into a game tomorrow against Vermont.
Tyler Hare batting second tonight. Swing and a miss for strike 1. He came in late against the Vineyard for one plate appearance as a pinch hitter. There were 3 different players who stepped into that designated hitter spot yesterday at the Shark Tank, as that's upstairs to even it up at 1-1.
Yeah, Hare had his season debut 9 days ago in that game against the Sharks and has really struggled since then, only hitting 192 on the year. Looking to get himself going here tonight.
Right. Definitely a capable hitter. That goes without saying, as that's down low. 2-1. I have the feeling that it's a matter of when Tyler Hare is going to get going, because he was tied for the league lead last summer for Newport with 10 home runs. He led Wofford with 16 home runs this past spring, and also batted .315 with Wofford in 62 games played. As the 2-1 is lifted high up in the air. This time it's towards Kyle Jones, and he makes the squeeze. 2 up, 2 down in the bottom of the first.
And right there we see LaJoie going to that pitch-to-contact approach, went to the outside with his fastball and got him to fly it out to Kyle Jones in center field. And that's the guy who the Navigators really want to see out there. Gold Glove finalist for Division I baseball as a center fielder with Stetson. Not only did he produce with the bat, he produced with the glove, and North Shore going to want to see that same kind of production from their star center fielder.
And LaJoie now faces Brody Zako, batting in the 3 spot as the DH for the Gulls. And that's a first pitch strike. Last night, Zako was the designated hitter as well, before eventually Burley and Hare subbed in for him in that DH spot later in the game. A wild game, to say the least, as we mentioned in the open. That's ball 1 from LaJoie, all even to Brody Zako with Randy Seymour on deck.
First time we've seen the off speed from LaJoie all night.
The third pitch from LaJoie to Zako. The fastball just outside. You could see Chattel hold it there, trying to get the call. Didn't get it.
And he wanted to steal that from him, just missed off the plate. Really good pitch selection, though, early by LaJoie. He's alternating the fastball with the breaking stuff and trying to get guys off balance.
This time he goes with the heat, same location and same call from the umpire, Joshua Garcia. The home plate umpire tonight, ruling that a ball, 3-1. Here comes the 5th pitch to Zako. Fastball sent way up high, down the left field line. Will it stay in play? Not quite. 3 Navigators players were running after that, Maroney, D'Amico, and McDougall, but it lands out of play.
Just unlucky for the Navigators, because if that ball's hit the other way, there's plenty of room down the right field line to make that play, but just so narrow on the left field line here at Gardines that even the slightest bit of curve is going to send that ball into the street.
And I will say a catch was made by Danny McDougall. It was just well out of play, but he showed great hustle on the run.
That does make sense, as that's fouled off. So, yeah, it landed in that bullpen area, which is out of play. So Zako stays alive here. It was tough to tell from this angle exactly where that ball ended up. And, yeah, McDougall kept running, so I wasn't sure if he ultimately got there. So there you have it. As Zako continues to battle here.
And Zako kind of taking a page out of the Navigators book here, just looking to work this count, do whatever he can to run up the pitch count on LaJoie.
3-2 again. Fastball inside, ball 4, and Zako draws a walk. He's the first base runner of the night for Newport.
Yeah, I mean, great patience. That's 3 borderline pitches in this at-bat. Zako was able to lay off all of them to draw a walk, and we'll see if the Gulls look to send him, potentially get a runner in scoring position for Randy Seymour.
And just tough time for LaJoie to be working on the mound. You can kind of see the rain coming down. It's hard to grip a baseball in this environment. He's able to get back in the count, but you got to think as this weather continues and the game rolls on, we're going to see a lot more balls than normal.
Seymour takes a crack at the first pitch, fouled away.
Toby, you want to put an over-under on wild pitches tonight?
I'm going to set the mark at 3.
All right. I might go for the over there.
I feel like
this could get sloppy.
It could. It very much could. It really depends on delays, the weather, who knows.
Deep breath from LaJoie. The 0-1 sent down the right field line and foul.
Yeah, Seymour sent that one on top of the warehouse.
Yeah.
Well hit. Unfortunately, well foul.
Yeah, and a good tack if you're Seymour, but if you're Josh LaJoie, you got to be thinking go back to that pitch. He's not quite timed up on the fastball. If you can go back, maybe get another degree on that thing, you can blow it right by him for a third strike.
LaJoie just shook off 2 calls before coming set.
The 0-2. That one skips free, and there you have it. A wild pitch that gets away from Chattel allows Zako to slide into scoring position. He's on second now for the Gulls with 2 outs.
And I don't think that's a pitch that in normal weather gets by Chattel. That's one that he probably puts in the dirt, but is able to be gloved. But in this kind of weather, it just skips that little bit to the outside and makes it that much harder to get a glove on.
So now the 1-2 to Seymour. Off speed, chopped to the first base side. Orphy is onto it. Quick throw, and it's in time. The out recorded, and we are heading to the second. 1-0. It's the Navigators in front here at Cardines Field.
Those vendors, I try not to trip our staff. Tonight's first inning includes a special one for me, as I'm proud to recognize Paul Casey, a retired member of the United States Coast Guard, as our first inning salute. He's accompanied by Director of Game Day Operations, Eric Woodley. Following his family's footsteps, Paul enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guard in 1982. He trained in electronics and maritime law enforcement and was promoted to petty officer third class. During his enlistment, he received the Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Commendation, and in 1983 was deployed to the island of Grenada in Operation Fervent Fury, earning an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. After honorable discharge, he went on to serve in the Cranston Fire Department for 30 years, retiring recently at the rank of Deputy Chief. As a personal note, Paul and the entire Casey family has become like a second family to me and my brothers since I met his son in high school. So it's particularly special that I'm able to honor him tonight. Paul, thank you for your service, thank you for your support to me and my brothers, and thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, we'd also like to invite the other active duty service members of veterans to please stand and be recognized.
We're back here in Newport as we move on to the top of the second, I should say. And a quick reminder that Launch Hydrate is the official sports drink of the NECBL on ESPN+. Launch Hydrate's unique formula helps athletes achieve peak performance at every critical moment, supporting improved focus, rapid hydration, and faster recovery. For orders and information, please visit launchhydrate.com. So Cole Cheatham back out there for his second inning of work, and he did allow a run in that opening inning, so a chance to settle back in this inning.
Yeah, and I think before we talk about Cole Cheatham, got to give a shout-out to the Gulls fans out there in the ponchos, braving the rain tonight. But I think for Cole Cheatham, great throw from right field there. Got him out of that inning with only 1 run on the board. He's got to feel confidence in his defense after that, and he just needs to be aggressive, go after these Navigators batters here in the second.
And I will say this is not an easy part of the Navigators' order, even though it's the bottom 3 men. Maroney, Orphy, and Bianco all hitting above 200. Bianco the only one under 300 to start the season. These are guys who, when they get hot, they are tough to stop, and all of them a bit of a hot streak right now.
Reese Maroney, the number 7 hitter, takes a fastball on the inside part of the zone, strike 1. And yes, to your point, shout out to all the fans out here and our camera operators as well, braving the elements. That one, a bunt attempt, and it struck Maroney.
I think he offered those, what they're going to have to debate.
Well, that's what Maroney's confused about. He's already halfway to first, thinking
and the umpire said him
a back. And he will. So he swung in when all was said and done. The bunt attempt was true, and he...
Well, now we're going to have a discussion here. And this is not an unusual occurrence here at Cardines. It was only the bottom of the first on Wednesday night when Ted Regan got wrong for arguing a call.
And I will say,
Top
Coach...
of the first, I think.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a full half inning.
Go ahead, Toby.
I will say, Coach Macaluzzo, pretty solid temper. I don't think this is a very civil conversation he's having right now with the home plate umpire. Just trying to get an explanation from Joshua Garcia about the ruling, and
they're going to now bring the umpires together, I believe.
And I think that's all he wanted from that conversation was, hey, I didn't see his swing. He went on the bunt, but that was a ball that hit him. He didn't go around. He should be at first base. Can you guys at least get together and have a conversation about this before making a ruling?
So that's what's happening. The 3 umpires having a conference right now. Joshua Garcia is the home plate umpire. Dan Fitzpatrick at first and Paul McKean at third. So those 3 just talking things over before an official ruling is made.
It does look from the replay as if he did pull it back. The umpires do not agree. They're going to leave him at the dish with strike 2.
So there you have it. Clearly, Maroney disagrees. He disagreed from the get-go, but he'll have to step back into that batter's box rather than standing at first.
Though I think did they call that a ball?
I think they said it bounced in the dirt
Oh.
before getting to Maroney.
And speaking of bouncing in the dirt, that one skips past Burley.
That would make a lot more sense then. Because it was like, how do they call
That
that a
must have
ball
been it.
if he offered, but a bounce would explain all of the aforementioned occurrences.
So it seems like the confusion has been settled as the 2-1 is on the way from Cheatham. That's up high. And Cheatham down in the count.
Yeah, Cheatham, not someone who has been really good at getting ahead in batters. Only a .446 percentage of first pitch strikes on the season.
The 3-1 now to Maroney, the leadoff man in the second, and this is hit straight back towards Cheatham and through the middle for another base hit. North Shore already has 4 of them. The leadoff man is on for the visitors.
Yeah, no, I talked about this in the last inning. This is a team that normally brings a couple of lefties into their lineup. Against the left-handed pitcher, they're stacking with a bunch of righties, and it's working out to their favor. They have dominated right-handed bats against left-handed arms all year. They're hitting 80 points higher when facing left-handed pitching as a team throughout the year. And now Luke Orphy trying to keep that streak going.
Yeah, and you have to think that the Gulls know that, and you wonder if that means Cheatham maybe has a shorter leash tonight with the vast abundance of righties in the pens for the Gulls.
Luke Orphy now at the plate takes a ball. And Cheatham's first appearance for the Gulls this summer was out of the bullpen in a shorter stint at Bristol.
Orphy hitting .333 on the year, the Georgia Highlands product. Could be 2.
Hit sharp, scooped up by Seymour, and there's a double play, 6-4-3. And Newport clears the bases with a nice double play, and that's big for Cheatham's confidence, I have to imagine.
Taylor-made ground ball for a double play. Seymour did not have to move. Orban waiting for him on the second base bag. And that really changes the dynamic of this top of the second.
Yeah, and with the Navs getting Bianco up to hit, followed by you'd rather have men on than guys not.
That one skips in the dirt for ball 1. Andrew Bianco, the number 9 hitter for North Shore tonight. And you can see Cheatham wiping his right hand, just making sure he has
I mean, you can
firm
see on
grip
the
of the
camera,
baseball.
it's not exactly dry. It is on the verge of pouring out there.
It's a little soggy.
It's a good way to put it. Cheatham settles in the 1-0, and that sails to the backstop.
I don't think he figured out his grip in between those pitches, Sam.
No. And he looks a little bit frustrated, too. It's just the nature of Mother Nature playing a role into tonight.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't pitch through the rain because it's kind of impossible to grip on a baseball, especially a new one, when it's raining like this. You just don't get that same tactile feel on it as on a nice, clear, sunny day.
The 2-0 to Bianco. That's a fastball. This time he locates the zone for the first strike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. One pitch seemed like he could not find it at all. Next pitch on the dot for strike 1.
We'll see what happens this time around. That time it's up high, but not too far off. 3-1 to Bianco with Kyle Jones on deck. It'll flip back to the top of North Shore's order after this. A deep breath from Cheatham. He deals, and this is another base hit out to left field. It bounces in front of Nico Brini. It's the 5th hit of the game, all singles so far for the Navigators.
And this is what North Shore's been looking for quite a while, a run of hits, getting guys good contact and getting on base. They've gotten guys to hit the ball well throughout the start of the year. Just has been more often than not, it finds somebody's glove, but right now it's doing everything they need to. As you see the rain in the mound meeting, this might just be telling the pitcher to calm down, get a, feeling the ball before pitching, because you turn it over to the dangerous part of the order and Kyle Jones.
Yeah, Kyle Jones is absolutely dangerous. Incidentally, one of only 4 Navigators who has not gotten a hit today. Already, as Cheatham already has given up more hits in 1 2/3 today than he had the entirety of his 2 appearances prior to today.
And you see manager Mike Coombs now walking back to the dugout, just having a quick conversation with Cheatham and the rest of his infield.
Can see movement, I'm not sure who, in the pen.
Something to keep an eye on for sure.
And you have to think these coaches know what the weather is. They probably are playing under the assumption that this is not going to go 9 innings, which means they could be a lot quicker to pull a pitcher.
We'll see if that turns out to be the case. Kyle Jones at the plate. It's a first pitch strike from Cheatham.
Yeah, Jones has a chance here with the runner on first to really deliver in his first game with the Navigators. Something into the gap could be dangerous.
This one, chopped up the middle. Seymour's there, steps on the bag for a routine out, and that ends the inning. We're through 1.5. It's North Shore 1, Newport 0. Back in a moment. Welcome back here into Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island, as we are rolling on to the bottom of the 2nd inning. And Josh LaJoy back out there for the Navigators. And we see there's actually some work being done by a grounds crew member on the mound. I'm not sure exactly what that is.
I think they're nailing it in place.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, it looks like one of those pads for pitchers to rub their cleats on because all that dirt is getting caught in the spikes and making it harder to land on, so a chance to get a better, more even landing spot.
Yeah, and that's really important. We want to prioritize making sure all these players not just have a good game, but get through this game safely and healthy.
Yeah, huge shout out to the grounds crew today for keeping this field playable through the start of this game. Really good work as the rain's been coming down in droves, but they're still able to play baseball into the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, the outfield will stay dry naturally. There's a drain out there, as Nico Breen likes to point out whenever we talk to him during BP. But just a phenomenal job by this grounds crew keeping this infield playable.
Yeah, so far it's certainly been playable, and that's why we're carrying on here at Cardines. Matt Austinfort, the leadoff hitter in the 2nd for Newport, batting in the middle of the lineup tonight. Austinfort didn't have any hits last night against the Vineyard, one of the few players who didn't, but he did have an RBI. Just about every player ended up notching an RBI in just a wild 19-9 win last night. And Austinfort swings at the first pitch, high up in the air left field. McDougall tracking it, and he's got it. 1 pitch, 1 out to begin the bottom of the 2nd.
Not an easy play for Danny McDougall to track there. You're looking up at a wet, rainy sky, trying to catch a ball against that dark background, and he runs in, makes a nice play. LaJoy's kept his pitch count pretty low, just 20 pitches to start this outing. And he's looking for another quick inning to get himself back in the dugout and just more time out of the rain.
Yeah, and I think, a great start for LaJoy, and that's just not just the way he's getting fly balls, but the sort of fly balls he's creating. Really weak hit, high balls, no real potential for damage.
Luke Orban now at the plate, big hack and miss. For the first strike, Luke Orban out of St. John's, a rising senior who missed just 2 games all year. For St. John's, they went to the NCAA tournament. that's a bit off speed, misses for a ball. All even at 1-1, the rain continuing to be a factor, as it likely will be throughout the night.
Well, the crowd continues to grow here despite the rain.
Oh yeah, crowd still showing out tonight, considering the circumstances. That one slipped up high. 2-1 to Orban.
Yeah, we saw in the top of the inning that Cheatham changed his release point to try and get a better grip on the ball. Be interested to see if LaJoy does something similar here.
Goes with a fastball, and it's ripped to the backstop for a foul ball.
And he did there. That release point on that fastball was about 2 to 3 inches lower than it was on the off-speed pitch or pitch prior.
Yeah, he's kind of dropping that arm, as we saw with Cheatham, just to get a little bit better of a grip and more command on his pitch. He might lose a tick or two on the fastball, but if it means getting a strike, he's going to take that change any day of the week.
2-2. Orban loops it to the shortstop, Maroney, who is in perfect position to make the play. 2 up, 2 down, in a smooth sailing second thus far for LaJoy.
Yeah, and that wasn't the fastest hit ball off the bat, but it had a bit of a scary loop if you're the Navigators. Good job by Reese Maroney to make his way over. Easy snag, and for the Navigators, you want LaJoy to get quick pitches in this. Go back to the bats, because you got the top of the order up in a position where the last time they were up, they got to run across. You're wondering if they can double that lead.
So bring up the catcher, Jake Burley, for his first plate appearance of the day.
And he takes a strike on the inside corner. Burley, a third-year Gull. Played in 25 games this past spring for Wake Forest after transferring there for his grad year, after spending the previous 4 years at Brown. Good take that time. It's even at 1-1.
Yeah, LaJoy's off-speed has a lot of bite to it, and he's been kind of mixing it up where it starts. Had that first one that started high, ended up in the zone. That one started in the zone, ended up in the lefty batter's box.
2 outs, nobody on base for the Gulls. And it just misses from LaJoy. Another disciplined take from Jake Burley to get up in the count. Jack Doyle due up after this. Zako, the only one to get on base so far for the Gulls last inning, and that was on a walk, so still no hits for Newport tonight. And this is roped out to right, and that changes quickly. There is the first hit for Jake Burley and the Gulls in this game.
Sam, you knew it was coming once you mentioned it, right? I mean, every time you mention something on the air, the opposite happens.
What can I say?
Sam, you should keep talking about how bad the weather is. Maybe it'll suddenly become sunny here at 8 o'clock at night.
I've seen weirder in New England. I mean, the thing about New England weather on a day like today, it'll change on a dime. And hey, if we keep saying negative things about the weather, I do agree it's going to be a sunny day by the end of it.
We'll see if that turns out to be the case. Jack Doyle up at bat for Newport. And as you mentioned in the open, Riley, a notable 3-for-5 night at the Vineyard. As that one skips to the backstop and Burley takes off for second. He's in the scoring position. Jack Doyle, in his first 8 games played this summer, only had 2 hits, and he had 3 last night alone against the Sharks with 5 RBI. So that's got to be a big confidence booster for the Northeastern product.
And as we see on the replay here, it's almost deja vu from the first inning. 2 quick outs for LaJoy, lets a batter on, and on the second pitch of the at-bat, a wild pitch goes back to the backstop, runner in scoring position. We'll see if Jack Doyle could do what Randy Seymour couldn't and drive the run home.
Well, he was good at that last night, but it is a new day at the office for Doyle. And that's a strike called on the inside part of the zone. Borderline pitch from LaJoy.
And there is something to be said about momentum for a hitter. You have a rough start to the season, then you get one good day, and all of a sudden, your mentality at the plate changes.
The
you
Nolan
start
Stevens
seeing the ball
effect,
better.
I like to call it.
That's a good way to put it. And there is a ball, another close pitch that just misses this time. It's 3-1.
Yeah, LaJoy is just not getting those close calls right now.
Yeah, he's trying to hit that fastball on the corners and just not quite getting that angle of release that he wants. And talk about changing the angle of release to get more grip. Sometimes it also means that normal pitch doesn't quite hit.
And that one up and in on Doyle, who draws a walk. And 2 runners are on for the Gulls. Nico Brini ready to dig in for the Gulls.
Yeah, and I mean, Nico Brini, the definition of clutch as the umpires are meeting. And I don't think this is about a call. I think this is about whether or not this game is going to be delayed.
Yeah, I have to think that's what the conversation is entailing, Toby, considering that rain's not letting up, and it's all piling up. As much as the grounds crew has done a great job to make it playable, if that rain keeps coming down during the run of play, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I mean, as a grounds crew, you can only really treat the field as best as you can, and they've done that to the best of their ability so far. But I think the walk, the last few wild pitches by LaJoie, it's not just about playing surface, it's about whether these pitchers have enough grip on the ball for it to even be safe for them to be throwing 90 miles an hour out on a baseball diamond. It's a dangerous proposition when the weather's coming in, it's driving down, and you don't have a good grip on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking a look here at the forecast on my phone, and it's Massachusetts looks as if they're going to send the teams to their dugouts here. The weather looks as if it's going to be bad for a little bit, but there is a break coming around 9 o'clock. I mean, kind of a lot of uncertainties here, Sam.
Yeah, there is. And in the occasion that rain is going to pick up quite a bit in the future, I guess it's better to get that tarp on the field before the real heavy stuff comes, for the possibility to get, more innings in and get to that 5-inning mark, which you need for it to be a complete game. So we are entering a rain delay here at Cardines Field.
I will note, the tarp is not coming out right now, so I would be very interested to see what's going to happen. GM Chuck Pavia out there discussing it with the umpires. Feels like, as here they bring the tarp out for the pitcher's mound, that we're kind of just in a waiting game here, and we'll let you know as soon as we know more.
Yeah, so we're all glancing at the radar, a conversation taking place, but this game has officially entered a weather delay, and I know this is something you dealt with last night before they finally called it off, but you got the 5 innings in to make it official in North Shore's 3-2 win over Sanford. It's definitely got to be really difficult for the players, especially the starting pitchers in particular, to deal with this quick break in the action early on, Toby.
Yeah, you got to take that break. Your arm cools off. Then you got to find yourself to get back out there. And for North Shore yesterday, they kind of got lucky that they played 5 innings without any kind of precipitation. Then the storm rolled in, and they called it before things got really bad. And by the time that the weather cleared out, the game had already been called officially. North Shore had been given the win. If you're the Navigators, you got to think about mentality out there. You've been playing all these games. You've now lost 2 games in a row that have been put into a delay. And all that time sitting on the bench, you're just thinking about baseball. You're thinking about what you can be doing in these situations. It takes a toll on these players.
Well, they are continuing to put dirt on the field. The tarp is coming out here at home and will be coming on the pitcher's mound. So it seems as if they're going to try and play this game.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal. And general manager and team president Chuck Pava confirmed that to us before the game, that they're going to do everything they can to at least get those minimum 5 innings you need in to make this game official. So as they cover up home plate and seemingly the mound, we'll step aside for a quick moment as we are in a rain delay here in Newport. We hope to provide you with updates as soon as we get it. Remember to follow the Newport Gulls as well as the North Shore Navigators and NECBL on social media and Twitter. We'll provide updates on there and hopefully get updates on here as well. So stick around, because hopefully we'll be back with more baseball in a little bit here in Newport on a rainy night. Here it's the bottom of the 2nd inning, 2 outs, 2 runners on. We'll be back.
thing now. I've got a couple birthdays now. Hopefully they're still here. Happy 10th birthday to Maisie DiLoretto. And happy 12th birthday to Twin Street and Dominic Costello.
One of the Michigan players from last year. He's not going back now. He said he wants to, but I don't know. Hey, I don't know if they're alive.
Who needs the Savannah Bananas when you got the goals you want to sing a song? So I don't know what's gonna happen, but here we go.
What's up, buddy? Yeah. Okay. They're right here. Right here. Where do you want it to? One of our pitchers. He's like 6'8". How old are you? What? I played soccer. My grandpa played professional, Bubba. There you go, buddy. My grandpa played professional, Bubba. There you go. Huh? Thank you. Yep. What? Evan. No, I'm being so serious. Look him up. Yep. Yep. He played way back. He played for the Canadian Navigators. Around there, 97, 98. He was, yes. that pen? Try and get one from one of these kids. Welcome. He's talking about the national team. Yeah. I just said Messi.
Give people a chance to talk. Can't do it with that bracket. You know my opinion, the music in this ballpark is disaster. Well, Dr. Crush gives me a chance to try something new as we try to keep you out of the cans. Think of up your flyer. By request of our players, we're going to play a little guess the goal. So I'm going to read off a few fun facts. And if you can tell me which player I'm talking about, I got the gift cards that we would have given away had it not been raining. So, I'll start with volunteers. Who think they know this team pretty well? You don't know. Okay. What's your name? Grayson. Okay. So, start off with a little bit of a curveball. So this player is transferring actually to Newport College. He can do magic tricks. We've got some videos of it. His favorite TV show is Impractical Jokers. What do you think it is? It is Nico. Since you're the first one, I'll let you pick from the gift. We've got Moz Donuts, we've got a free ice cream, we've got the 99, and we've got, careful there, Dance It Rats. I'll let you pick one.
Drake or Kendrick?
We got Moz Donuts, ice cream, 99, and Dance It Rats. Looks like it's Dance It Rats. All right.
So I'm going with Kendrick.
See if I can notice how way that looks. See how far this wire goes. See how far this goes.
It's your birthday?
Hey, somebody down there just pick the corner of the axis. Can you grab that corner of the wires?
Hold on, I'll grab that.
Thank you very much. I'm tethered to the wall actually right now. Anybody over here think they know the team pretty well? Alright. Who over here think they know the team pretty well? Over here maybe? Oh, not at all. Okay, never mind. I mean, I'll make it multiple choice next time. Alright, Riley. Alright, so this player is favorite show is the Office, and favorite character is Floyd.
Yeah, how old are you?
His favorite color is
10?
purple. And allegedly, he knows the lyrics to every Taylor Swift song.
I feel old now.
So, is it Matt, is it Cade, or is it Brody? Last minute change to hit Cade, change to Brody, and that was the right thing to do because it's Brody.
My
So
glove?
with the 99 left, we've got a free ice cream and we've got milestone.
There isn't one. They're all good. Y'all need to watch this movie called Hardball. It's about, no.
Sorry, I got 2 players on this team up right. So this player is in his 3rd season with Newport. He's born in California, and he's a graduate of Brown University. Mr. Fancy Ivy guy.
I got it from Florida State.
So is it Brad, Jake, or Cole?
What'd you just say? Go home, kid. Go home.
Brad, Jake, or Cole? It is not Cole. It is Jake Burley. All right, I've got one more there. Yeah, come on down.
All right, welcome back into Cardines Field here in Newport, Rhode Island. We do have unfortunate news to report, and that's that this game will not be continued tonight. So as we welcome you back into the broadcast booth here at Cardines Field, Sam Reese alongside Riley Daniel and Toby Zabore, North Shore's broadcaster. So we were in the bottom of the second about less than half an hour ago, really, is when the umpires called the teams off. They waited it out for a little bit, but the rain's going to persist through the evening. So we have no word on when the suspended game here in the second inning will continue. Obviously, with these two teams, Toby, being Coastal Division foes, they still have plenty more meetings. So these teams will square off again in 5 days at North Shore. I would have to think it would make sense to that day continue this game as well as the originally scheduled one, although we don't have any word on that officially.
Yeah, it would make sense for that day. North Shore is also going to come back here to Cardines Field a little bit later in the month of July. So if they wanted to play it at the original field, July 15th, Monday at Newport, that could happen as well. Again, we don't know what's going on officially, but if you're North Shore in this contest, encouraging signs from the bats. They got out there. They got hits off of a left-handed pitcher. You're starting to see that production come through, and that's something that they can take onto the bus, take the trip tomorrow to Montpelier, and you don't get any stats from this, but you're getting momentum from this.
Right, that's a good point. And the Navigators with a big tilt against the Mountaineers tomorrow, who have the best record in the league right now. And on the other side, Riley, for Newport, I guess there's not a whole lot you can take out of how this game went. The offense never got going. You know, it wasn't the best start for Cheatham, but I have to think the conditions played a role. I have to think you kind of just throw this one aside and look ahead to tomorrow at Ocean State.
Well, I mean, you throw it aside because you got an inning and 2/3 into this game. Like, you can only take so much from it. And for the Gulls, I mean, yeah, it wasn't the greatest start for Cheatham, but really a one-run lead is nothing in the NACBL. And it's going to be a brand new game, essentially, starting in the bottom of the second when these two teams pick it up, wherever they end up picking it up. And honestly, it's very rare to say this when a game gets rained out, but I don't particularly think either team, after the sorts of long nights they had last night, is particularly upset by this, especially for the Gulls, who have to go on the road tomorrow.
Fair enough. So we're packing up early tonight, folks. We were hoping to get a full game of baseball in tonight. Mother Nature had other ideas. We kind of lucked out with the first 6 home games here at Newport with beautiful weather. Tonight a bit different, but we thank you for tuning in so much nonetheless. So the Newport Gulls stay at 8-5. North Shore still 6-5, and this game will be suspended. It has been officially suspended and will be picked up at a later date that's yet to be determined. Well, we thank you so much for tuning into a shortened broadcast here on ESPN Plus, and for our great production team, as well as our camera operators braving the elements out there, and my great broadcast partners, Riley Daniel and Toby Zabore. I'm Sam Reese saying thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your Friday night.